Okay, so you guys probably already know this considering that you have clicked on this video. So Ubuntu 22.04 was released just yesterday at the time of recording this video, and I have to say there are some changes which I really loved. At the same time, some changes which I did not. This video is not going to be the first impression sort of video.
I've never tried popcorn before. I'm super scared.
This video is gonna be more of my reflections on this distribution, because I mean this is gonna be the distribution which I'm gonna be using for the next 2 years at least if I get rid of distro hopping. The first thing which made me more curious about Ubuntu 22 is the GTK theme itself and the new version of GNOME. So we have this new light and dark theme, and another major change in the theme is the accent colors. With that said, the next major change in Ubuntu is of course the panel. Ubuntu has finally added the option to make the panel as a dock, make it more Mac OS like, which I really like. Now there is one place where I think Ubuntu could have done better, which is actual layout of Ubuntu itself. I mean, I understand that the default layout of Ubuntu is its trademark sort of. At the end of the day, there should be some changes. I mean, if you have a look at other operating systems like Mac OS, we will see some changes in the layout just to make it look and be more modern. I mean, maybe it could have added the global menu and so on. Now coming to the wallpaper, I mean, these are the custom wallpapers which I added by myself. Most of the wallpapers right here are completely based on nature, but I feel Ubuntu could have added some variety of wallpapers. I guess there was nothing more abstract like this one right here. I mean, you get my point. And also, I almost forgot, I did want to point out a very small bug. I mean, it's nothing harmful or important. That highlight out there, it really is not rounded or stylized at all, but when you hover it, it just fixes itself. I mean, it's not an important bug as such, but yeah, a small thing to point out, maybe could be corrected by Ubuntu team. So the next thing which I feel should be corrected by the Ubuntu team is the bloat, where I have manually installed DaVinci Resolve. But except that, if you have a look at the applications, I have specifically made a separate group for stuff which I really don't want. I mean, most people don't use Thunderbird, at least for me. Most people whom I know never use Thunderbird. I personally just use a web browser, which seems to be much more simpler. And of course, when it comes to media, we have Rhythmbox, we have Shotwell, we have a separate video app itself, but instead of all of these, you could have just added, I don't know, VLC media player or some similar application. Another example of bloat is these two applications right here, Softwares and Update, Software Updater. They could be merged into one single application, I guess. Not to mention Software Store, which is completely different. All three of them manage software, so I feel all three of them could be merged together and then, you know, made into one application. Another major change which I think Ubuntu could have corrected is the additional driver application right here. So once you have installed Ubuntu completely and you have enabled the third-party applications while installing, and if you are using NVIDIA as your graphics card, you probably will get this option, but it will be grayed out for some reason. This actually took a long time to correct for me, and at the end of the day, I just went with using the terminal. There will be no option for a new to Linux user to actually install a proprietary driver just using the graphical interface, which I feel could be corrected by Ubuntu team, maybe by enabling the options to install the proprietary drivers by default. But yeah, if you are a new to Linux user, you just go ahead to the terminal and then type sudo ubuntu drivers auto install, and you just hit enter, and that should be able to install NVIDIA drivers. And finally, the last change which I feel Ubuntu could have changed is, well, the default browser. Firefox has been the default browser of Ubuntu for like forever, and as a web browser, Firefox has taken some bad moves, and of course it has gone down in the number of people who actually use Firefox. Come on, except the looks of the web browser, Firefox has remained stagnant for many versions, and there are no new noticeable features added to Firefox as a web browser. While on the other hand, we have web browsers like Brave, which constantly keeps changing. For example, it recently decided to actually have its own search engine called the Brave search engine, which is pretty much a good move to be more independent by itself. And on the other hand, we also have web browsers like Vivaldi. So yeah, those are some corrections which I feel Ubuntu could have changed, and what I feel and my reflection generally on Ubuntu 22.04. Hopefully this is gonna be the distribution I'm gonna use for the next 2 years if I again get rid of distro hopping. And yeah, that's really about it in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will meet you in the next video. Goodbye.